Going on, guys? Welcome, Rabid here, and we got a brand new product courtesy of Goldshell in my possession. This is known as the BYTE, and it's kind of an interesting concept here. Sounds like something revamped from the ground up, but it's kind of giving me Hashblade type of vibes here, and it's also, I'm believing, long term, it's going to be along the new age of solo mining lottery miners. So let's have a quick look at this just to give you an idea why I think that. So this actually runs cards, and you can get multi-cards for different things. So right now, by default, it comes with 2 cards, and one for a Leo and one for the script algorithm, which is your Litecoin, Dogecoin, Bells, and up to 11 other coins, depending on the pool you choose to mine with, as all the merge coins is pool dependent. So when it comes to a Leo, this is only about 5.5 mega hash. Currently, that's a little over maybe 6 coins a day or so. That's why I'm saying long term, it's going to be more on the lottery mining side of things. And at Dogecoin, it looks like it's supposed to be around 80 mega hash. Now let's just flip this to the backside here, and here's the interesting concept about the cards. So there's a little locking mechanism right here. If you simply just pull the tab right here, you can see it pops out. Now here's one card, pull that out, set it to the side. Actually, I'm going to lay it down so it doesn't break or anything. And here's the second card. I'm going to pull this one out now, and we'll look at this one in a minute also. So put that down to the side here. Now let's just kind of look at the back side of these cards. I'm going to turn my light down a little bit here so there's not too much of a reflection. So the one card on the left here, you can see DG card. And the other card over here says AE card. So obviously this one is for a Leo. This one is for the script algorithm. DG stands for Dogecoin. Obviously you're mining Litecoin, Dogecoin, Bells, whatever else. So there's 2 cards in here, and you saw how easy I did pull them out. So it's looking like this is ran off SATA. We got like a SATA power here, and then SATA data delivery right here. And obviously they just slide straight into the slots. And then this is pretty much like your hub, and it just slides right into there. Now, one thing I'm kind of curious about is later on, are they going to make larger hubs, a lot bigger hubs in this case? That way you could possibly get maybe 6 card rigs, 12 card rigs, and then simply throw them all into there. And I think that would be huge. So this could be the start of something pretty awesome. It all comes down to obviously price range and stuff, but making things nice and easy to mine ASIC algorithms on a small compact device. And depending on price, we'll see how it does, as well as obviously power consumption numbers here. Exactly, because I kind of gave you what I thought they explained was to me earlier. But again, real world testing, we're going to be testing this out. But right now, 2 cards, 2 separate algorithms. Now I imagine, maybe you can get 6 script cards, maybe 6 Leo cards. Like, I don't know the pricing on it or how you're going to do the orders. All right, so this does look like pricing is now available. It did release yesterday, and if you're looking for one of these, I will have a link to the Goldshell website down in my description. It's a referral link, so if you want to help the channel, be sure to click on that. So coming into here, we can see it ranges from $254 to $691. The default that you do get is the BYTE miner plus a free DG card. Now DG is your Dogecoin, so you're for your script algorithm, Litecoin, and all that. You also have options for other cards: DG card ×1, AE card, which is a Leo ×1, and AE card ×2. So 2 Leo cards, 1 Leo card, or another Dogecoin card here, and a 140 watt charger. It doesn't come by default if you have none clicked here. So coming into here, we can see that this is almost 30 some dollars here just for the charger. You're obviously going to need that. That's your power cable, unless you got about 140 150 watt USB good charger at home. Some of you might from running Nano S's and Nano 3s and things like that. If you're still running it, obviously you're going to need more, but that is what this does use here. And then we can see, I wish it added in actually any card, the BYTE plus any card that you want. We'll look at profitability later on. Script is very popular for home miners and a lot of miners, but sadly when it comes to this machine, it's not profitable mining script. So they're kind of forcing you the garbage and not relaying you the good stuff, where a Leo is right now. But eventually a Leo will end up being garbage as well, as we see Bitmain release their miners, because there's still not very much hash rate on it. But right now, out of the current options you have, a Leo would be the best choice, as it's the only one that's currently profitable. But looking at those cards, we can see the DG1. So if you wanted 2 script cards for solo mining, maybe hit a Dogecoin block and get yourself some 10,000 Doge, that could be an option here. That would be about 353 for 2 of those. For 1 DG card and 1 Leo, it'll come up to 492. Now I'm saying with 1 because that is the free card you're getting with it, plus the purchasing of another card because it's 2 slots here. And then if you want 2 Leo cards, it's the 691. Obviously, they're charging you the max amount for the highest profitability of the side of the miner. Pretty much the same reason all the Leo miners are still really expensive. Now, to get these cards back inside of there, you know, it doesn't matter how you, well, it does matter how you put them in, but it doesn't matter the order or anything. As you can see, as long as the tabs here are on the bottom, it should be correct, because we can see this is actually sticking out a little bit on the right-hand side of these cards. Let me just, I don't want to drop it or anything, so let's just get it to focus here. There we go. So I got a little bit of focus action here. So you can see if I turn it this way, it's on the right-hand side. So as long as you have it like this, it will not matter which way you put it in. So we're just going to kind of put this in. It's kind of hard to do while recording and, you know, we're holding the camera and everything. So I'm going to slide that in, put that up, lock it in. Make sure it's in. There we go. See, locked in. We are good. Take the other card. Make sure your tab is on the bottom there. I'm going to slide that one in now. Bam, in. There we go. It is done. That's how you replace your cards. And as mentioned, you can buy expansion cards later on if you don't want to mine AE anymore or Leo anymore and you want other coins or something like that. You can just pull these cards out and put them in. But remember, I wish they would make, or I hopefully if this thing does take off and do good or something, they will add, you know, a large one here. That way we can run, you know, 6 to 12 cards. I think that would be pretty sweet because look how small and compact they are to actually stack them up. All right, so before we set this up, let's look at the power supply and kind of what we got going on here. So here we can see we have multiple ends depending where you live. I believe this one right here is your China plug. So if you live in China, obviously you'll be using this one. This is your standard North American 110, 220 volt for your wall outlets. And this one here is your 220 and whatever they use in Europe right here. And you can see that they all got these little clip things like so. All like this, all like that. So they got these little clips in the back, and all you got to do is simply plug these in. Now here is the power supply itself. We got a USB-C right here, which we're going to use to plug into our BYTE miner. It's not focusing for me. So there we go. So here's the USB-C. We're going to plug into our BYTE miner, and then here is the back. Now here you can just simply slide this in and stuff. So example, say you are in Europe and you need to use this. You simply put this in like so, and bam. Here is your wall plug for that. Now there's a little button right here that you are going to need to push. You can kind of see it right there because it is locked in now. So you got to push that to enter the release button. So we're just going to slide this back out. If I can get it out. There we go. So go this way and just slide it back out like so. All right, guys, so I might have a tad bit issue or I'm just dumb and haven't figured it out yet. But as I showed you that little horseshoe that's on the back of these guys right here to clip onto there, my North American plug, which I need, doesn't have that. As you can see, I have this type of ordealio here, and I don't see anywhere on the power supply to plug that in or anywhere on the BYTE machine, but I think I may have an option. So I did pick this up a while back here, and I'm sure glad I did because you always need all sorts of things. So this is actually, it can plug in pretty much anything. As you can see here, all sorts of plugs for input as well as your output. Example, here's the outputs coming in. Here's something for EU. That's that standard plug right there. Here's obviously our North American, which I'm going to be using right there. And then you got all sorts of different places that you need different types of plugs. But in this case, I need the input. I'm going to use the European one, and then I'm just going to run this over to my 210. So I still have an option here to actually use this miner and test it and see how much power it's going to use. But sadly, I do want to make sure they know that either I'm not running this right because I don't know how this works. I don't know why this has this type of back when these other ones have that type of horseshoe here to connect to it. And remember, this does not come out. So you cannot bend this out here at all. Those do not come out whatsoever because it's designed to use this little horseshoe clip to clip into it, which I will demonstrate one more time here. So bam, as you can see, like so, that is how that goes in. All right, so for me, I did put that European plug on, and then I'm going to plug that in to the back of this through the middle right here. Let's just see if I can get that in. There we go. So I am going to be using that converter. It's freaking huge, and that's actually a lot of weight to be on some prongs. So, you know, this is for testing purposes. I'm not going to want to do that for long term. All right, so now the little USB part of the power supply will plug into the USB-C plug here on the BYTE machine. So I'm just going to simply plug that in, and then I'm going to plug it in, and we'll try to get this thing set up. All right, so I do have power going into it, and right here we can see two blue lights, and the camera is kind of looking white. Maybe if I shut my light off here for a second, it's still kind of looking white. So I can start to hear the fans start to spin a little bit. I'm going to hit the power button. I don't think I need to because it sounds like things are working. I'm just going to hit that anyway and see what happens. It didn't do anything. So we do have some spinach happening on the fans here. Focus in on that. You can kind of see things spinning right there. So now we're going to jump in and try to set this up. I'm also going to go through each card individually, see if that's a thing that can be done. That way we know how much power each one is doing by itself, not both of them together, as we know it's two different algorithms. All right, so in order to hook this thing up and get it running, you're going to have to use the Goldshell Zone app, either on a laptop or something, or your smartphone, and then connect to the Wi-Fi within here, as there's no internet to plug into this. I wish they would have an Ethernet port to plug in, because this is actually being a big pain right now. As if I go to miner management, I have no internet, so it's not letting me flip to anything. It keeps telling me no miner. Now, I did have to unplug it and unplug it back in a couple times just to get it to connect to the internet from this thing, even though it was showing up, though it wouldn't connect to it. It kept saying cannot connect to it. So now I finally got it connected. I did have it go to the next page and it's set up, but then the app asked for some extra permissions and I hit allow, and now it won't let me do anything at all. So I'm probably going to uninstall the app, not give it any permissions, and then try again and see if that works. All right, so in the app, I went through and I finally allowed me to discover it and then input my Wi-Fi settings in there. Once you're done that, you should be able to log in through your router or your IP address on your PC, or you can do everything through the app. All right, so here we are at the Goldshell hub, and I actually needed a firmware update in order to get into this because it wasn't working once I added it to my network. It wasn't showing up on my account or anything, which is a major thing for this miner. So I imagine this is going to release with the later firmware. That way it does work for everybody. So now that we actually got this in the dashboard, we can see all the information here. We got pool settings. We can see all our hash rates from different Goldshell miners and stuff. And in the app, it's the exact same thing at the Goldshell Zone, where you can see all the various information, change things around, and fully control the miner or any Goldshell miner throughout that Goldshell Zone app. Now, I like to use the website personally myself more, or even just a straight up miner dashboard. But going through the hub here on my PC, we can see the miners I have online. Coming into the BYTE right here, we can choose between your card on the left side or the right side, depending on the order you have them in. But you can manage both cards here by looking at things. In settings, you can set up your pool addresses. I have two set up here. That means for future miners, you can simply click on this, go to pool on the right-hand side here, and easily set them up because I already put these in by default. So if I get more Leo miners, I can simply click this in and get the pools up and running. Or if you want to swap pools, all sorts of things. Makes it pretty fast and easy, utilizing the infrastructure from Goldshell. Now, Goldshell does have a nice infrastructure going between their wallet. They got their apps for their miners, and they got their watch, which you can track everything on as well through the app. But the only thing they really need to work on, I feel, is higher performing miners. Then this would be pretty awesome. All right, so for the Litecoin side of things, I am going to use PowerPool. If you guys enjoy PowerPool or you want to check it out for yourself, I will have a link to it down in the description. All right, so coming into here, we can see obviously cards were recognized earlier here, but a Leo card status, we have an average hash rate of 5,314 kilohash or 5.3 mega hash in this case. Keep on scrolling down, we can see card 0 hash rate mode, LTC card status. We can see 81.48 mega hash on the script algorithm. Now we got to make sure we are detected at the pool. So coming into PowerPool, I can see byte 1 here is detected. It is hashing away so far. We don't know any average hash rates, so we run this long term for at least 24 hours, but we are seeing around 989 to 97 mega hash at this point. And then coming in to look at ZK Works, I do see we do have the byte 1 here. It's saying 0 hash rate. It's saying inactive. It's going to take a while. It is last detected a few seconds ago, but because it's such low hash rate, it's going to take a while to find a share and stuff. So I might have to use a GPU stratum because it's such a low hash rate here, but eventually it should find a share anyway, even on the ASIC side, but it could take a while. I'm going to leave it for a bit, and if I don't find any shares or get any hash rate after an hour or so, then I will convert that over to the GPU stratum, and then it should work a lot better. But time will tell. And with that being said, I just hit the refresh button and we're starting to see some hash rate. We found 8 shares. We have 2 active workers now. Byte 1 is officially online. Now, before we go any further and before I'm on my hash rate adjust this, we're going to start earning a few more coins. I think it's up to 6 coins a day at the current network difficulty and stuff. The early Goldshell miners have been out for like a month and a half, 2 months or so right now, and we have not seen the yields drop. When I first tested this about a month and a half ago in a Leo, we were getting about 45 to 50 coins a day. We are still at 46.7 coins a day, which is making me think people aren't really purchasing these miners because they were scared for a lithium being trash. What happened to Kaspa, and everyone jumped into lithium so fast and too much hash rate picked up there. People were backing off and not buying this, but now because of that, people who are maintaining pretty good yields for when the coin hopefully does pump in the next bull run coming up in the next few months. In theory. And 31.6 to 132 watts at the wall with both cards running. All right, guys, so I did pull out the right-hand card, which is a Leo. We're going to look at the single card to see if this will run with just one card in it, which in theory it should. And then we're going to see how much power consumption the script is actually using. Okay, so with one card, just to show you what it's going to look like here, it is in yellow, slot 0. It says card removed, but card here is recognized, and it is hashing. So it's looking like you don't have to run all the cards. You can mix and match and do whatever the heck you want. So that's actually a pretty cool feature. All right, so it does look like Litecoin or script is about 64.7 watts in hash rate mode. Remember, the power supply is using some power. I'm just not 100% sure how much. All right, so now I got a Leo in here in hash rate mode. Same thing as before, slot 0. We are now recognized. In slot 1, the card is removed. It is yellow and states card removed. We are hashing on a Leo. Let's take a look at our power consumption in hash rate mode. All right, so it's looking 64.7 or so, 65. So exactly the same amount of power as we saw with their Litecoin script card. So a Leo in low power mode is about 44.5 watts. So we did lose like 20 watts at the wall. All right, so let's take a look at the numbers right now. So here we have the Goldshell BYTE card 1 for LTC, the 2 on top here, and then we got a Leo. So 80 mega hash in hash rate mode at 64.6 watts, and then low power mode. Nothing seemed to change for me, and it maintained the same amount of power and stuff. Now looking at a Leo in hash rate mode, we were about 64.6 watts. This is supposed to be about 6 mega hash here. I don't know the hash rate, but we did notice a drop in power of about 20 watts, pretty close to it in low power mode. So something is working on a Leo, which isn't working on script. Now, one thing we got to keep in mind, probably going to see a lot of nice home, quiet, inexpensive. Definitely. We don't know what the price is. You probably know by the time watching this what the price will be, but at the time recording, I don't know what the price of this thing is going to be, but I'm just calling this thing a lottery miner. I don't think there's much profit to be had with it, so it's definitely going to come down the price and if something like this you would like. I really think they really got to upgrade the hash rate and efficiency of those cards. But to start off right now, and the concept I think is really cool and really nice for new miners with simple card upgrades where you can just keep buying cards for other algorithms, slip them in and mine them. You can double up on a Leo, I would imagine, double up, get all in on Litecoin, I imagine, instead of having to run multiple different algos. But it's nice to test 2 different ones. to see how they are performing. So what is the current profit and why I think it's just a lottery miner? If we look at Dogecoin, and remember, even on an L9, the latest and greatest script miner here, Dogecoin is where all the money comes. Litecoin is okay, but there's hardly anything coming from it, and all the other merge mine coins are just paying you cents, especially as the hash rate exploded on them from the large mining pools, merge mining all the other coins as well. So we got to see what the numbers on Doge looks like, because that's where 95% of the profit is. And coming in at 60 mega hash, 64 watts at 12-cent power here, you are negative 12 cents, which means you are not profitable mining Dogecoin or script in general on this miner at the current rates on the market. If Doge pumps obviously to $1 or something, things will look a little bit different, as you are going to be getting 0.649 Doge. So, you're getting about 64 cents there per day if Doge hits $1. But right now it's in the negative in terms of power at 12-cent power. Coming into a Leo, and this is where it is profitable right now, but we have Ice River set to drop their ASICs next month here, and we have Bitmain set to release in the next 3 to 4 months, which will turn this into absolutely no profit as well long term, which again puts us towards the lottery mining phase. Now, obviously, finding a block on the lottery for these coins isn't going to make you hundreds of thousands of dollars like a Bitcoin lottery miner is, but maybe they're working on cards for Bitcoin. That would actually be a pretty sweet idea. Imagine a Bitcoin card that can go inside these things with a decent efficiency, not just to have Bitcoin, to say you have a Bitcoin miner you can put into it. Really decent efficiency in these cards would make a huge milestone for home crypto miners. But right now it's only making about $1.51, and if you're running the Litecoin one, you got to subtract 12 cents from that and increase the power, so you're probably under $1 running both cards. So for now, I'd probably only run a Leo. All right guys, so that pretty much does wrap up this video on the new Goldshell BYTE. So let me know in the comments what you think about this, and if you are looking to pick one up, be sure to use that link down in the description. Now, final thoughts on this thing. Well, you know what? It's a nice new concept to kind of get going here, but I do think it has some limitations. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but looking here, this does run off SATA power. And last, if I remember as we deal with risers running off SATA and stuff, I think SATA is only rated for 52 watts. And we did see this was already using 62 or 64 watts or something at the wall. Now, in terms of design and stuff, this is a nice, fast, easy option, getting new cards and stuff like this. Just place it in like so, push, and you're in, ready to roll, plug it in, and you can be mining a different algorithm as more release. But I do feel like right now, most script miners are profitable, but sadly the hash rates and the efficiencies aren't really there right now, making this one of the worst in efficiency, at least for script. Right now it is profitable on a Leo, but there's hardly any ASICs released yet and people aren't really buying them. So once we do see more miners and hash rate hit a Leo, depending on that price, this will turn into the same fate as script and not be very good at all, placing these into lottery miners. And obviously the lottery on script or Leo is nowhere near as good as hitting a block on Bitcoin. Now, moving forward into the future, if they could probably expand this thing, like I kept mentioning kind of earlier, into possibly a 6 to 12 card thing, make a lot better cards for this. They are calling each one of these things cards, so I'm calling them cards as well, so keep that in mind. But yeah, each one of these cards right now, only available ones I believe is a Leo and script for Litecoin, Dogecoin and stuff, but more algorithms are coming. So I expect, Radiant and maybe Nexa and maybe a Bitcoin one, who knows, but a whole bunch of other ones. But expanding this to much larger, like 6 to 12, and then obviously you're going to need a bigger power supply because the power supply is powering all this. They'll have to make it fairly big and maybe have expansion slots so that you could remove and put in and replace with maybe 750 watt to 1200 watt server power supplies, and as well bulkier, better ASIC type of cards. And I think that would be a very cool product for the space and, you know, the time it takes to kind of set one of these rigs up. But that's for the future, coming off of this initial concept. Right now, I think the concept is cool, and technically that's probably where it should stay, is as a concept, because the numbers right now aren't really looking good, at least to me. So that does wrap this up, guys. Thank you very much. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Hit that subscribe button. I'll see you on the next one. Rabid out.